and leadership. So, a little about me. So, I come from a computer networking background, and I work with network infrastructure on my daily basis. And so my day to day job is all about building reliable networks. But what excites me the most here is how technology connects people and create opportunities. And that's exactly what ties me to tonight's theme. The cloud era is built on principles like scalability, resilience, and innovation. And if you think about it, those qua- those qualities also define journey of women in tech. So scalability, which means expanding our impact beyond ourselves, mentoring and uplifting others as we grow, and resilience, facing challenges in an industry that hasn't always been an equal, yet continuing to thrive, and innovation, so bringing new perspectives and diverse voices that push the community forward. So when I look at the speakers that we have tonight, we see engineers, we see leaders. We also see communities builders who
Actually muted for some reason. So see if you can unmute yourself. Thank you. Cool. Sorry to.
So wait, I was on mute from just now.
Actually, only just a little bit part. Only when you just asked today. So it's okay. Don't worry. You can continue.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
No worries. No worries.
So where did I stop?
You can just continue. It's okay. Yeah.
Okay, I can't even remember where I stopped. Okay. Um. Okay. So, since this is an online event, just a quick note for all of you guys. Our speakers will lead the session, and if you have any questions, please post it in the chat. Myself and the volunteers will be monitoring and will bring them up during the Q&A session. And during the Q&A session, you can also use the raise hand feature, and I'll call you by your name. So, with that, I invite you really to learn in tonight, celebrate the journeys of the incredible women we are about to hear from. And because tonight isn't just about talks, it's also about sparking ideas and also reminding each other why community matters. And once again, let's welcome Women in Cloud Area and Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur. And I'm so glad you're here with us, and let's make an inspiring one together. So let's look at the agenda first. Okay, so let me just walk you quickly through tonight's agenda. So at 7 p.m. we have officially kicked off this event, and then at 7:10 our first talk will be from zero to developer, my 1 year's serendipity journey with OpenTelemetry by Diana Todea. And at 7:35 we'll be hearing scaling a software house in Southeast Asia from solo founder to RM 2 million ARR by Angelina Mashuri Cheah. And at 8 p.m., we'll move to Unstoppable Woman Redefining the Future of Cloud Native with Emily Chen and Aakansha Priya. And finally, at 8:25, we'll close the event. So it's a full evening package inspiring stories and lessons from women who are leading the way in Cloud Native. So, so before we begin, let me share a bit about Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur. So we started our very first meetup in October 2023, and it's the Kuala Lumpur chapter of the Cloud CNCF community group. So our mission is simple: to advocate cloud native tools like Kubernetes, Helm, Argo, OpenTelemetry, all the amazing open sources, technologies that we are shaping the future of infrastructure. So what makes Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur special is that we fully run by volunteers. So right now we have 2 organizers and 8 volunteers who spend their own time and energy to make this event possible. So none of this would happen without their dedication. So as a part of CNCF, our focus is to drive adoption and sustain an ecosystem, open source, vendor neutral projects, and also the best part over here is open source makes innovation accessible for everyone. So at Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur, we truly believe that open source is the future, and that's why we are here building the community together. So so meet the team, and of course none of this would be possible without the team behind the scene. So this is the Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur team of mixed organizer and volunteers who spend their own time to make this meetup happen. So we got Mangesh and Nick as the organizer, and our amazing group of volunteers, Nasir, Kwang, Ashir, Fuad, Spiros, Razik, and Tekwe, and yes, of course, myself, Kiru. So it's really special to be a part of a team that comes together not for just recognition alone, but because we are truly believe in the value of open source and community. So huge shout out to the whole Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur crew, and thank you for making spaces like this possible. Okay, so one thing I love about Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur is that from day one, we have always been diversity and inclusion. So we want this community to be a space where everyone feels welcome to share their experiences, no matter your background, your gender, or where you are in your career. So for us, diversity is more than just numbers. It's about empowering women in tech, creating opportunity for women to lead, share knowledges, and inspire each other. Mentorship and growth, where connecting aspiring technologies with mentors and build skills, confidence, and career paths. And driving innovation together, because when you bring diverse voices into an open source, you fuel collaboration and push cloud native innovation to further. And tonight's theme, Women in Cloud Era, is a celebration of exactly this resilience, growth, and the power of community. Okay, so before we dive into the talks, let's quickly check in with the speakers. So the first one, we have Diana Todea. So Diana Todea is a developer experience engineer in Victoria Matrix. She has worked as a senior SRE focused on observability. She's passionate about serverless, SecOps, and machine learning. She is an active contributor to the OpenTelemetry CNCF open source project and supports women in tech. So hi Diana, could you please unmute yourself and say hello to everyone so we can hear you?
Of course, yeah. Hi everyone, good evening. I'm really excited to be here for the very first time. And thank you for joining us.
Okay, thank you Diana. Next, we have Angelina Mashuri Cheah. Okay, Angelina has more than 7 years technical sales and consulting, now leading Citrus Cloud SDN Sendirian Berhad, and is the solution pillar responsible for proposals, proof of concepts, consulting and implementation for several solutions to offer to their clients in Malaysia and Thailand. So hi Angelina, could you please say hi to all of us? Is she here?
I think she's not in yet. She'll join shortly in 15 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, do we have Emily?
Yeah. Yeah. Emily and Aakansha, yes. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll move on to the next one. So we have Emily, Chen, and Aakansha, Priya. So a little about Emily. Emily is a sales and solution engineer at Equity and Argo Enterprises. She is an active contributor in various cloud native CNCF found projects and advocate for diversity and inclusion. She is involved with translations and localization of numerous projects for open source projects, including CNCF Glossary. So could you please unmute and say hi to all of us?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining. It's my first time at Kuala Lumpur's meetup as well, and I'm super excited to give my talk later today. Thank you again.
Okay, thank you very much. So now let's move on to Aakansha Priya. So Aakansha Priya is a solution architect at Dash Zero, CNCF ambassador and CKA certified, and a co-organizer of Cube Huddle, Toronto. So previously a developer and advocate at Empathy OPS, where she lead developer contents and community engagement around CNCF tech. A front-end dev turned architect, Aakansha has spoken at events like DevOps Days, CIVO Navigate, and OSSNA. So focusing on observability, DevOps culture, and the human side of tech. So outside of work, she enjoys painting, singing, and spontaneous travel. So could you please unmute yourself and say hello to all of us?
For sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited for this presentation, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. Okay, so now we have officially get to know everyone. So let's officially kick things off. Okay, so our first talk is from Diana Todea. So her session is titled From Zero to Developer, from 1 year Serendipity Journey with OpenTelemetry. So it's a talk I think I will personally resonate with anyone's beginning their journey in cloud native. So practical, inspiring, and relatable. Hi Diana, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will just share my screen. If you could please allow me, Kiro.
Yeah, I think Kiro, you need to stop sharing.
Yep, perfect. No worries. Okay, and here we go. I'll just go into full screen. All okay? Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Yeah, so like I said, thank you so much for joining us at Women in Cloud Era. For me, it's the very first time at Cloud Native Days, Kuala Lumpur. And today I'm going to be speaking about OpenTelemetry. A bit about myself. I used to be a site reliability engineer focused on observability. Right now, I'm a developer experience engineer at Victoria Metrics. I support women in tech. I'm a member of the CNCF Merge Forward initiative. That's a brand new initiative. I'm a co-lead of the new neurodiversity working group in this Merge Forward initiative. I'm an OpenTelemetry active member, especially in the hotel docs localization SIG. And I'm also a co-organizer of Cloud Native Romania. So a bit about what is this talk and what is about and what is not about. So it's definitely a 100% motivational talk because I'm going to explain you what my personal journey with OpenTelemetry and open source kicked in and how it's developing and how it is after more than 1 year. So you won't have like the normal tech demos in which I show you things and I break things, but that doesn't mean it's not going to be technical. So a bit about OpenTelemetry. Even if you are familiar with observability or not, I'm pretty sure you've heard about OpenTelemetry, right? It's like the second most famous CNCF open source project after Kubernetes. It's still an incubating project, so there is still bits and pieces to modify and improve until it becomes a graduated project. What OpenTelemetry's mission really is to enable effective observability by making high-quality portable telemetry ubiquitous. So it has like very specific objectives about telemetry, right? So it has to be simple, universal, vendor neutral, loosely coupled, and built in. So this is like what you're gonna see on the OpenTelemetry website when you're gonna start looking about OpenTelemetry. Its mission is also something that I really resonate with, coming from the observability background, because I always search for telemetry that was simple, was universal, and obviously vendor neutral, and that was really hard to find actually prior to OpenTelemetry. So with OpenTelemetry, we're gonna deep dive a bit next. So OpenTelemetry, what really is, basically it's not really a tool, right? It's a framework. It provides us like the general rules about observability, about instrumentation. So the main objective of OpenTelemetry is to provide an easy instrumentation of applications and systems. And how does it achieve this? It achieves via generation, export, and collection of the three signals. The three signals of observability, I'm pretty sure you all know them: logs, traces, and metrics. So this is what it does under the hood. Obviously, it is open source. Like we've seen, it's vendor and tools agnostic. But very, very important, it doesn't provide an observability backend, and also it doesn't provide an observability frontend. So what does it mean? It does mean that we need to provide the storage and the visualization tools. So pretty sure like you all went to Grafana before, you all build dashboards and in other frameworks as well. and you all fiddled around with the metrics, logs, and traces. So this is what it does more or less under the hood. So how did it all start for me? So working in observability for a while, I also heard about OpenTelemetry, but I really wanted to get my hands dirty, right? So I wanted to fiddle with it, play with it, and have a practical involvement. So for me, it was last year, so even more than a year ago when it all started. Actually, Linux Foundation community made a public call, and it was looking for observability subject matter experts because they were looking to create the very first certification about OpenTelemetry. So OpenTelemetry Certified Associate, OTCA. And actually, that was really like the perfect opportunity for me to start with. I signed in just like other people did, and we started to collaborate, right? So it was like my very first experience with open source, with the open source community as well. So we got together and we started to create these questions for the exam. We started to review them. We started to brainstorm. We looked at the official documentation. We looked at many other sources as well. And it was really a nice collaboration. It was also very interesting because it wasn't a project, very like a short-term project. It was a long-term project. So I think we kicked it around April last year, and it finished more or less in January this year. Basically, when the certification became public for everybody. So it really was a journey that lasted quite a bit, and it was interesting to communicate with all different developers from all different backgrounds, knowing their level of expertise. So that was like for me the very first, like the best introduction into OpenTelemetry. It got me thinking about the documentation as well. How we can improve the documentation. So it was a really very good first experience. So based on that, as an exam developer for OpenTelemetry, I got the theoretical knowledge, but I wanted to do much more than that. So it kind of kicked in very nice for me, let's say from a time perspective. At the time I was still a site reliability engineer, and I was working at a company that had fragmented observability. Fragmented observability means when you don't have one tool or one framework for observability, and you're basically getting your metrics, logs, and traces from different backends, right? So for a developer, it's really hard to onboard, or tends to be quite hard to onboard on numerous platforms, understand like what each platform does, how it's built, how you can manipulate it. So it can be quite a hassle. You also have to manage it. So it's not like the best experience for a developer. So regarding to traces, to distributed traces and to instrumentation, in my company I was working, they never heard about OpenTelemetry. And we also wanted to choose a tool that was open source. Our stack at that moment was more than 50% open source. So this was like a great motivation for us to look forward in open source space. So what I did from my side as an engineer, I proposed OpenTelemetry. I created a proof of concept, and I started to test it with my team. So I tested with a reliability engineer. I also collaborated with software engineers because we're handling a lot of SDKs, a lot of applications. And we decided to do this on a couple of SDKs, namely Node.js and PHP. And we got to it. We tested it locally. Everything was fine. We tested in staging. It was also great. And then to move to production, actually, we needed the management green light. So after we internally we kind of like discussed to move forward or not, we decided not to move forward. And for me, that was a very interesting use case. It's obviously it's not a prototypical success stories of very big companies. And I think this is very useful and very healthy to share with the general public as well. And here, this is like what I wanted to share is one particular use case that's very interesting to discover. Why? There are many companies. They're not very big, so we are not talking about organizations the size of eBay or LinkedIn. So we are talking about more modest teams, engineering teams that they don't have like lots of resources or human resources, like in terms of like engineering teams. So we are talking about actual engineers that put out fires and also have to spend time in building different projects, right? So basically, if you want to start from zero and put into production a specific project, you have to make sure 100% that it won't break things in production. You also need to make sure that the engineers or the developers, that they are trained about using a specific tool. And for us, it was very interesting to do this with OpenTelemetry. So we got our hands dirty in staging. We did notice a few things that for us was very interesting. So the pros for OpenTelemetry were that it is vendor neutral, and we love the fact that we can move away from the commercial APM provider and have a standard for observability, for open source observability, especially for distributed tracing. So it's something that we lacked. And we did realize that with OpenTelemetry, we can see the traces, the span IDs, and everything that we wanted for, like a prototypical APM vendor. So we really like that we could do the same things. However, being open source, it does give you, how can I say, it does open a different road for you. First of all, it's not a plug and play solution. So you need to understand the fact that a lot of customization happens under the hood. You need to work on the code. You need to account for the performance overheads instrumentation does with OpenTelemetry. You need to think about instrumenting your specific SDK. So I was mentioning before that we used Node.js and PHP. Well, back then, and probably things changed a little bit right now. At the end of last year, when we tested this, there was manual instrumentation for PHP and Node.js. Basically, it was a lot more difficult for us to instrument for OpenTelemetry. And we created afterwards an issue team. So we'll see that afterwards. So that was a bit of a manual step that we had to account for. And also the fact that when we finished with the manual instrumentation, we noticed that the performance was declining. And there were several things that we didn't think about, right? Well, first of all, you don't need to instrument for all metrics because you will never need all metrics. So a few bits and pieces that were quite interesting that we never took into the account. Also, the lack of examples at that time was something to to take into consideration. So yeah, it was very interesting. Once we got to the visualization part, so we wanted to have dashboards in Grafana. We took Grafana as an open source visualization front end. And we realized that, okay, to build the same user experience in Grafana, it will be a lot more difficult coming from a commercial APM vendor, right? So you're not going to have your prototypical plug and play dashboards, very nice. So you have to spend a lot more time customizing those dashboards as well. Then one of the issues, that we didn't like fully went into production. At that time, we weren't very sure what will be the amount of support from the community once we go ahead in production. So we had let's say that we had an incident in production. There was an issue that none of the engineers were very experienced with. We are very unsure who to ask from the community, right? So that specific transparency was unknown to us at that time. And overall, I think we took the very traditional or the very conservatory road here, and we decided to let community mature itself, right? Get more mature, stable, and then we'll try again. So this is like the perfect example of medium, let's say, medium-sized company that doesn't want to take the high risk of putting an open source project into production, right? And that was, for me as an engineer, a very interesting experience. A very interesting experience because it made me think that, you know, even if you as an engineer, you want to test something, that doesn't mean your company does, right? That doesn't mean it wants to take the same risks and yeah, fully go into production. It doesn't take one engineer, it takes teams to actually support a project. So to wrap up this part, for me and for my colleagues, it was a very, very good experience. We did communicate and we did provide our developer feedback to the community. So like you see, we opened immediately an issue and we just blurred out our feedback. And we did pose the fact that in our specific SDKs, we noticed that a truly auto instrumentation. It was great because the timing was great. Grafana at that time was donating the project Bela, eBPF auto instrumentation tool for metrics and traces. And from that moment when we actually pinged it to the community, so that was October last year, until April this year, it took that many months for the actual donation proposal to close. So what it happens is at the moment there is a special interest group called OTEL eBPF instrumentation that is very active in achieving this objective, this auto instrumentation with the help of eBPF, which will help a lot more other, let's say, programming languages. And obviously it does a lot more things that I'm saying at the moment. Bottom line is always provide your developer feedback to the community. You never know if they're working on it. You never know if they need to prioritize a specific issue. And I think we did the best thing when we actually responded and we kind of like pushed from our side to be considered. Right. From a point of view, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed that you know, as an engineer, I didn't see this coming into production. I didn't have the full success story that I wanted to reap, but also it made me understand the realities of the engineering market or the market in general, and that not all companies are ready to take the high risk of implementing an open source project if it's not 100% stable. But also it made me think that the road to contributions, it's a long road. It's not a quick win. Definitely is not going to be a quick win, and you're here for the long run. So for me, I took the decision to continue as an individual contributor. So that means not necessarily dependent on the organization I'm working at the moment, and start to contribute actively in the project that I'm interested in. So I took the chance and I started to understand a bit more what OpenTelemetry is doing, if I can contribute with you know, bugs or via non-code contributions, and how can I influence and understand other open source projects. So we'll take it step by step. So codes and non-code contributions. This is like an important point to touch. The code contributions are the ones when you're gonna modify code, right? It's super simple. You're gonna do some software changes. You know, you can declare a bug if you want, etc. But you're gonna actually actively work on the code, right? You're gonna modify the code. That's also super important, but that doesn't mean that other type of contributions are less important. So a lot of volume, a lot of volume from the contributions, and they constitute the non-code contributions. So that means, working on a translation for a documentation, creating an issue, giving a talk, for example, about a specific project, raising awareness to the community. These are non-code contributions that are really, really impactful. So let's see a bit about this. So for me was, like I said, I took the road of individual contributor. And although, let's say, my company at that time didn't need OpenTelemetry, right? So it didn't need OpenTelemetry in production. There were other ways to contribute to OpenTelemetry. So I went ahead with the roads of improving the documentation. And you could do so by getting involved and either in these virtual communities or simply translating official documentation into your language or the languages you master. For me, it happens with Spanish. So because I live in Spain, I went to the local communities here, the all native communities. I started to speak with people. I got to know the hotel localization in Spanish. So I liked it. I liked the fact that the people were open. And even though that for me at that time, it seemed like a small collaboration and a small contribution, actually helped other people as well. With time, so just quite recently, I understood the fact that translation is not just only for big communities, right? So you also have to think about smaller communities that, you don't have to have many countries that speak your language. It could be just one country. And I thought about helping my country, taking the initiative and creating, let's say, the issue for localization in Romanian. So I'm a native Romanian, and I'm looking currently at, gathering more Romanian-speaking contributors, also potentially managing and growing the community in that sense. So this is an initiative also you can take if it's in your country, in your community, something you could always think about. I also really like the fact that the no-code contribution involved actually the developer experience contribution. It's something that I'm really passionate about because you can reach a lot of audience. You can speak at different events, just like this one. It could be a virtual event, it could be a meetup, you could go abroad on a conference. It doesn't really matter. It matters that you speak with people and you discuss about your pain points. It can be a very relatable story, just like the one I shared right now, or it can be a totally success story. That is really, really great. The idea is that I think you have to get out of the comfort zone, take the very first step and keep going each step at a time. It might be a bit uncomfortable at the beginning, but nobody, has has it perfectly from the very first time. So please do share with larger audiences if you can. What I did learn from the field is that people have very similar stories and they ask very down-to-earth questions. So questions like, okay, how can I join an open source community? How can I make my first contribution? Do I have to keep working? Do I have to make my contribution in being involved in my company? Or can I make it also a dual contributor? So these were like really questions that I got from the field, and they were really, really great. And also, once you start, let's say, getting more ease with your work in the open source community, you can even write articles, right? So it doesn't stop at speaking with people, sharing with people online, but you can also do it via written content. For me, it's something that I always liked. As a teenager, I always wanted to be a writer, like many others. So for me, it's like always good to write something down. Yeah, if I went to an event, if I, did the POC, I don't know, if I thought about something and I noticed a tool, I like to share this with people through blog story, or it's important because people will see it and they can communicate and share with more people. So that's also an alternative how to contribute to the community. Overall, for me, right now, after more than 1 year with OpenTelemetry, is that my contributions obviously are not ending. So I'm always thinking about new ways of diversifying those contributions and new ways of taking initiative. Obviously, for me, the inspiration I get is from other people, and the vibrant community is something to be inspirational, because in different countries they have different perspective how they think about things, about different projects, and one project will influence the other project. So especially in the observability realm, OpenTelemetry doesn't stand alone, right? It stands along with other projects, and one thing that you make sure is that if you find an idea in one community, then it will echo in other communities, and I found this really great. And like you've seen, there are so many ways to raise awareness for cloud native projects. As long as you have ideas, you can make your own steps, you can make your own journey, and you have to take steps and not feel like you're making small contribution. On the contrary. So for me, I left also a bunch of verses. Some of them are my own, some of them are obviously from the official documentation, from the communities. If you want to take a look and understand a bit more about the OpenTelemetry, if you want to reach out to me, please do. Also about the new communities in CNCF, always check the main page. And yeah, for any questions, I'm available. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience?
So for the questions, either you can raise your hand or you can put it in the chat, so we can look into that.
Okay, I see no questions so far. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much, Diana.
Actually, sorry, I have a question. Just
Go ahead.
ask for Diana. So regarding the OpenTelemetry certification, right? So what are the things actually you think should or it is covered in there, and what are the things that are not covered that you think should be in the curriculum, and is it in-depth enough for people to get started or get experience with OpenTelemetry?
Yeah, of course. So from experience, I can tell you that this is not a very advanced certification, right? It does provide it's sort of like beginner intermediate type of level. It does provide everything to start with. So you have it does cover pretty much everything for you to start with. So like the basic foundational level, even a bit intermediate. So it's a great way to start in. Obviously, it doesn't make up for experience in the field, right? So like for developers working with things in production, obviously there are some situations that you will come across with that will need more advanced troubleshooting and such. And this, at the moment, they're not covered in this certification. But for it is very good, actually. Even for me at the beginning was really great, because it does cover quite a lot. So it covers quite a lot of documentation. It's very good to help you start, and even provide you give you the right how can I say, provide the right guidance for you to understand a bit where to move in the ecosystem, because OpenTelemetry is it's a standard, right? It's not a tool. So to the fact that you can test it with many tools, that's a different thing. So it can look a bit like a bunch of theoretical concepts put together, and then you need to make you need to do some exercises. You need to practice it, keep practicing in obviously the different environments you are accustomed to. So I could say this: I would love a follow-up of the current certification. That's for more advanced users. That's more like also can have like labs or like different command lines and commands and etc. Definitely, that's something that we could do in the future.
I think we have another question in the chat. You are muted.
Sorry. There's a question from Nick. What are the best practices for testing hotel under stress to catch potential race conditions or buffer overflows?
Okay, interesting. So anyway, so OpenTelemetry does provide the demo. It's at hotel demo. It's a repository that you can go and play with different with OpenTelemetry. You need to have your own backend of OpenTelemetry. You can also fork it. So many organizations actually did fork it and provided their own data sources or databases. So that's a great way to start for anything practical. Another way is to start using it in your own company or for something that you have something specific in your organization. But that will be something like a road that's more or less unwritten. So it's especially for you. Like I said, the community is trying, however, to provide more examples. I know at the moment we are constantly trying to create like other demos or like practical guidance for more people to understand it. But for you to begin, or anybody can begin, even if it's from within an organization or just an individual contributor, is to start with the hotel demo. And you could build on that, obviously looking at the documentation and really take it from there.
Yeah, so Nick have another question. He asked, can you share the repo?
Yeah, of course. 1 second. Let me see if I can stop sharing. So I stopped sharing,
You can
right?
put the link in the chat. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it's the one that you're referring to. The
Yeah,
GitHub.
I'm gonna put it right now. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
Yeah,
we
of
have
course.
we have another question from Chris. I'm a beginner developer and I would like to ask if I really need to use Linux for cloud and servers. If so, which Linux OS is most preferred?
Okay, I think I think that's like a more generic question, not necessarily hotel related. To be honest, you can use Linux for cloud and servers. Like the actual OS, it doesn't really matter. Preferred, I don't think there is a preference from the community. You can use whatever you want. I know that the majority of the community, like the examples that you currently see nowadays is like Ubuntu, Debian, but that doesn't mean you cannot use other operating systems or even not use Linux at all. Yeah, of course, yeah, you can use it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, you can use OpenTelemetry in macOS, Windows, Linux, of course.
Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, I just wanted to make like a quick. So I'm not sure if you saw it. So on my GitHub repo, you already have the slides uploaded, so you can download them for free, and everything else from my previous presentation, they're all available for free if they could help you with anything. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, so yeah.
I think that's all. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Diana, for a very insightful session. I really like how you connected the personal journey of starting from zero with the technical aspects of OpenTelemetry, especially the challenges around its observability and why open standard matters. So it's a great takeaway for anyone here who's exploring cloud native. Start small, experiment, and keep contributing back to the community. So thank you very much, dear Diana. So yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Manish, can you please open your WhatsApp? Sorry.
Maybe we should check who's the next speaker, so if it's the case that we can make it.
Let's continue with the Emily and Aakansha's
Yeah.
session.
Emily still there?
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next session. Okay, so we'll be moving to the next session. We'll be hearing from Emily Chen and also Aakansha Priya. They'll be speaking about unstoppable women redefining the future of cloud native, and this is going to be inspiring one, I believe, for those who are looking for both technology and also people side of cloud native and how women are shaping the future. So Emily and Aakansha, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Hey everyone, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to share my screen. Thank you so much for being really flexible with our schedules. All right, let me know when you're able to see the screen. Be able to see a presentation right now. Awesome. Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you so much for coming to our talk today called Unstoppable Women Redefining the Future of Cloud Native. My name is Emily.
And I'm Aakansha, and thank you so much for having us. And we are really excited for this presentation. A big shout out to CNCG Kuala Lumpur chapter for doing this initiative, and we are really excited for this.
Yep. So before we actually get into the real content of the presentation, I would like to do a really quick poll to get the dynamics of the room today. So if you can just get your phone and scan the QR code, and if you can't do that, you can go into mentimeter.com and enter this code so that you can participate. I will give it maybe like 10 more seconds, and then I will switch to the Mentimeter page. It's just a 4-question poll. Everybody got their got their polls yet? Are we good? Are we able to see? All right, cool. So this is the question. I'm just going to start presenting. Is anybody having problems accessing the poll? Okay, awesome. We're seeing the answers already. Okay, good. I'm so glad we're seeing other female speakers. I will give it maybe, oops, not 30, 10 more seconds to respond maybe. Awesome. Okay, okay. Nice. And so now that we know what kind of audience we're talking to, have this. The next question is this. So has your tech competency been questioned because of your gender or your role? I'll give it another 10 more seconds. It's quite healthy, maybe half and half. I'm glad. It's not like I'm seeing all yeses and that's when we have a problem.
Okay, now it's moving towards yes.
All right, the next one, Aakansha, you want to do it?
Yep. So the next question is, do you feel you had to work harder to be seen as credible compared to the other gender?
Okay, give it a bit, about 10 more seconds as well, let's guess. Awesome. Okay, and then you want to take the last one too, Aakansha?
So the next question is, what have your colleagues or manager done something that truly made a positive impact on you? And it could be just short answers, maybe one word.
It's an open-ended one, so I'll give it a little bit longer. Care. We love that.
Yeah.
We love it when we get treated as human beings instead of just decision-making power. Okay, cool.
Respect my time, empathy, freedom, mentoring with patience. Supported my personal hobbies too. Nice.
I like the one that says challenged me because it forces you to grow, right? Let's give it maybe 30 more seconds.
Told me to log off early cause on call was waking me up at 4 every day. Nice.
I'm glad that your manager for somebody is telling you to have work-life balance instead of expecting you to work all the time.
Yep.
Salary increment. Oh my god, I love that. We all want that. Okay, that's awesome. Thank you so much for participating. So I hope everybody now has like a good idea of who we're talking to. Let's go back to that presentation. Thank you for participating. Learned a lot. Right, going back to present. So Aakansha, take it over. Let's hear a little bit about you.
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Aakansha Priya and I'm calling in from India. So a little bit about my background. I did BTech in computer science. Then I went into front-end development. And then I realized that, okay, there is a lot more path in tech, and I switched into community management. And then there was a turning point in my journey that I attended KubeCon Amsterdam back in 2023, and I got to know that there is a role developer relations, and that's how I transitioned into that. And now fast forward, I am now dealing with customers as a solution architect at Dash Zero, where I'm responsible for the pre and post sales of the customer journey. I'm also a CNCF ambassador, and later this year, I'm gonna you can find me at KCT Porto, where I'm giving a talk with Marino, and then you can find me at KubeCon Atlanta at the Dash Zero booth. Also, you can find me at X or Twitter at Aakansha Priya _.
Thanks, Aakansha. So if you notice, there's a hashtag for every person that we feature. We're going to feature a lot of people in our talk. Every person that we feature, we get hashtag to them. So I gave Aakansha this one called Fashion Taggy because if you're looking at her and her picture, you'll notice that she is so pretty and so fashionable. Oh my god. But she's also one of the smartest people I know. So in the tech, so she is a fashion taggy.
Thanks, Emily. And now we move on to Emily.
Yeah, so you can see my name is Xingyi, which is my legal name, but for pronunciation purposes, I go by Emily. I started off my journey as a aspiring electrical and biomedical engineer, where I started with a lot of research internships. Then a bit down the road, I started picking up software engineer and embedded systems engineers roles. So it's like I've done Java, I've done microchips, kind of things like that. But then a few KubeCons later and a Cube Huddle conference, which we'll feature later, I ended up in the cloud native space as well. I am currently working as a sales and solutions engineer at Acuity, where I focus on pre-sales. So I'm nomading around Europe right now, and I'm calling in from Paris. So Emily in Paris, but I don't know what that reference is beyond the title because I haven't seen it. I will also be going to KubeCon Atlanta this year, so if you do happen to go to Atlanta, please come say hi to me. And you can also say hi to me on Twitter or X at m_10
And for Emily, I gave the hashtag control shift because, of course, we like the bad puns. And the idea is that she works multiple shifts, and of course, there's a dominance of men, and she would like to have control on that shift. So hence, control shift.
We all love bad puns.
And
All right, on this one.
And here we go with Emily's and Aakansha's adventure. So we met for the very first time last year at Cubital Toronto, right? And that was our start of our friendship. And it's literally friendship across the oceans because she was in Canada and I was in India, and we still continue to be friends and support each other. Also to mention that Cubital was the place where Emily gave her first tech talk. And also it was a starting point for her to transition into cloud native ecosystem.
Yeah. So like fast forward till now, Aakansha and I are literally in the same domain, working very similar jobs. It's like it's a full circle moment. But I didn't. So I met Aakansha there. I also met a lot of mentors there. So at Cube Huddle, where they literally were the reason that paved my path towards where I am today.
So we want to highlight some of our lessons. Of course, there's a lot, but we wanted to highlight the major ones. So first is that career path may change because it's normal. And as you could see for Emily, that she started out from an research background and she found her way into tech. So there is no right path and it can change and it varies for everyone.
Yeah, and then you also see that like Aakansha has so many flavors of roles like web dev and whatever, but there's no right way to enter tech because we all are here and we came from drastically different backgrounds.
And the second is mentorship. Of course, our journey was not alone. We had been always supported by our peers and our mentors, which we're going to highlight later in the slides. But those people were so supportive and so kind that they advocated for us in the rooms we were not there, right? And it's such a small thing, but it leads to a lot of impact. And we are really grateful for those mentors.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out is that mentorship is not the mentor always gives and the mentee always receives. It's mutual, and you don't always have to find someone that's older or have more experience in the field to be your mentor. Peer mentorship is just as important, like me and Aakansha are doing right now, and I've learned so much from our interactions.
And the third point is imposter syndrome. So I'm sure you know about this, and it's completely normal to feel it. Emily and I face it every single day because we might not know the questions to the customer, like every question, right? And to look at from a different perspective, you could see that if you're having that doubt, you are getting out of your comfort zone and you're feeling that imposter syndrome, it's completely normal. It means that you are not stagnating and you are growing.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind that sure you're able to use that sort of pressure or stress as your fuel to learn better, but you can't let that become toxic to you, and that's where you should take a step back and reevaluate where you're at more objectively. Because at the end of the day, you are hired for a reason. You earned your seat at the table, and no amount of imposter syndrome should you take away from that.
So next is tech navigation. Of course, for everyone, it's different, but we wanted to highlight these four pillars that worked for both Emily and me, right? The first is personal brand. It's important that you show up, you learn in public, you share your wins and failures over socials. Like show people that who you are, like who is Emily or who is Aakansha, who is XYZ, right? And then go and give your first talk. Doesn't matter whether you have that stage fright or not. And for example, like Emily gave her first talk at Cube Huddle, and now she's going places. Third is you can, of course, in CNCF, there is a CNCF ambassador program, and it's a very nice place to be in. You get access to a lot of networking opportunities. You get to talk to people from all around the globe who have different expertise level and come from different backgrounds. It's a very supportive initiative that you could be part of. And I, of course, encourage Emily as well to apply for it, and I hope she gets in this quarter.
Yes, I did apply, and thank you for Akansha and a bunch of mentors been telling me to apply. I did apply, so fingers crossed for me. One more thing I want to point out on personal brand is that it's not you think about your personal brand and you're like, I want to be famous one day, I want everybody to know my name, and then you do the personal brand. It's because you've done enough contributions that people recognize you because of your giving, not the other way around.
Next is OSS contributions. So if you can check out the CNCF tech landscape, there are so many projects and you can see like whatever interests you and you can start contributing. You can join the online meetings and see where are the good first issues. Of course, it doesn't need to be all code contributions. It goes much more beyond that. Like you can do docs contribution, you can do testing, you can do design, whatever you like. I started my OSS journey like last year, where I joined this Kubernetes Contribex Config, and I started contributing in the LWGD newsletter, which is a Kubernetes development weekly newsletter. So of course, you could see that this was a non-code contribution, but it led to my starting point in the OSS journey.
Yeah, and if you're like looking for things that's more guided, because I know for OSS as like our previous speaker mentioned that it's not easy to always like do things and get in. So if you're looking for something that's more guided, you can check out like LFX projects, GSOC, the Google Summer of Code. These are projects that last for about a few months where you contribute to a particular feature in a particular project, and there are mentors in place to help you do those contributions.
And of course, you should go ahead and join and attend meetups and conferences, even if it falls outside your tech domain. Of course, you get that networking opportunity, but you also get to explore a lot of things. Like for me, I came from a web development background. And then when I went to KubeCon Amsterdam, it was a completely different change for me. I transitioned into that because that community, that tech interested me so much. So yeah, so it's a great place to go to meet people, to understand the tech, to talk about projects, and maybe something interests you.
Yeah, but while you're doing those OSS contributions, you shouldn't expect yourself to know everything, because like skills can be learned as you touch more projects and you spend more time in tech, but your character and your attitude, that's a non-negotiable. What that means is if you don't know something, say you don't know, because owning your mistakes builds credibility, and if you say I don't know but I will find out, it earns trust and shows that you're willing to learn.
Also, like, people have some tendency to fake it till you make it attitude, and it's a wrong approach, because ultimately you're not fooling anyone else, you're fooling yourself, and you're setting yourself up for a failure. So in the longer run, it's going to bite you back. So it's better to be authentic, be honest about who you are and what you know. And also, we want to highlight our roles, which is sales, solution engineering, or solution architect as a role, because of course, we also got to know from our mentors that this is something which we should try out. And we want to highlight it because, of course, tech is already such a male-dominated ecosystem. But this, in a role, we have seen that even in the customer calls, there are only men and hardly few women. And we would love to have women and encourage others to see and try out this role as well. It's a very fine balance between technical expertise and customer empathy. So if you like customer interactions and you like the technical combination of it, you should definitely check out these roles. Also, don't be fooled by its title, like it's a sales engineer, so that means it's involved with sales. Not at all. It goes much beyond the product pitching.
Yeah, it's like instead of you're just selling the product all the time, you have to understand the customer needs and you have to translate complex stuff into business value so that you can help customers understand the story behind your tool and how they could use it to their full extent to solve their problems. So I would say that communication and storytelling are just as important as coding in roles like this. So those were our stories. So enough about our stories. Let's hear it from the beautiful ladies that we interviewed in preparation of this talk. So we interviewed Whitney Lee. She only started her tech journey about 5 years ago, but she's doing so well. Prior to that, she was a professional wedding photographer. But about 5 years ago, she decided that she wants to try out tech, so she became a software programmer and then landed a job as a cloud dev at IBM. Then she became a DevRel in a few roles, and she is now a senior DevRel at Datadog. She is a CNCF ambassador, also like Aakansha. And one thing that Whitney pointed out is that DevRel is more technical than you think. You see a lot of DevRels having fun at conferences and giving tech talks, but it's so much tech that is powering their fun and their demos and stuff, because you have to be able to translate tech into a demo or a talk or anything that is understandable by a large variety of audiences, such as beginners, people just as technical as you, or people more technical than you, and they all need to get value out of it. That means she sees a lot of people during her journeys as a DevRel, and she says that using jargon or somebody using jargon at you doesn't mean that they're more knowledgeable than you. You just have to ask, and that jargon knowledge will become yours as well. And you have to ask by saying, I don't know, what does that mean? And that's this authenticity that we highlighted earlier, and you should be able to maintain that sort of honesty, that I don't know attitude during interviews. That's okay. But as long as you say, I think, after your I don't know, it shows enough effort and your attitude and your passion to learn that actually landed Whitney a lot of roles as well. And then we
And-
would like to give a
Oh,
shout out to Wick Arsovsky, which was her previous mentors at a previous company that really helped her shape her journey as a DevRel.
And we gave Whitney the hashtag Creative Radiance because she's so creative. You should definitely check out her YouTube channel, and the way she expresses and explains the tech concepts is such a unique way. And also, whenever you talk to her, she's just so warm and she's so sweet, and that's why we gave her the hashtag Creative Radiance. And next we have Fog Dong, and she started her journey in tech doing the OSS contributions back in her college internship. And then she went on to roles like SWE at ByteDance. Then she moved to Alibaba, and now she's working for Bento ML. She's also a Kubewela maintainer and a CNCF ambassador again. Also, she highlighted in one of her instances that she was at a conference and she was talking to prospects and people. And of course, she dressed up, she was fashionable and everything. And there's one guy who comes to her and say, like, are you the marketing girl? And then she confidently says that, no, I'm the project maintainer. But also to mention that her manager jumps in and then supports her and advocates for her by saying that, no, she's really smart and she knows her stuff. But of course, she also believes that in this system, if there could be more female managers, it could be a better decision. Also, as an advice to newcomers or someone who wants to transition into tech, she says that the barrier to tech has drastically reduced because there is AI, and of course you can leverage AI, and it's okay to use AI to code. So yeah, that's her advice. And of course, she wants to give shout out to her current manager at Bento ML.
We gave Fog the hashtag of she builds because Fog is a programmer and developer through and through, and she builds so many things, and therefore she builds because she's a beautiful lady that knows her stuff. The next woman we would like to highlight is Adriana. Adriana was originally wanted to be an aerospace engineer, but then graduated from industrial engineering and worked as a software developer for some years, and then became a engineering manager, then release engineer, and then another engineering manager. So a lot of those manager roles. Then now she is the principal DevRel at Dynatrace. Adriana is also a CNCF ambassador. We're seeing a lot of ambassadors today. And she is also a great mom to a 17-year-old daughter who who's very, very confident in her own female skin and enough to call out mansplaining, which is something that I personally feel like should learn from her daughter. As Adriana had a lot of leadership and engineering manager roles, she said that she is made painfully aware that I am a girl in leadership roles. And as a result, she often had to mask her personality and her female attributes in order to fit into the team that she was leading. But as time went on, she said that homogeneous teams suck because homogeneous teams lack that diverse mindset and opinion that we need to make innovations and drive products forward. Therefore, she noticed that being kind and nice have subtle differences because being nice means you're agreeing to things all the time versus being kind is to point out something that may be tough to hear, like this is not a good idea, this is not a good fit, you're not correct in this sense, so that we're able to benefit the other person's personal growth as well as the product that we're working on. Adriana wants to give out shout out to Marino, Tim, and Duffy for shaping her career.
And we gave her the hashtag no bullshit because of course Adriana doesn't take any bullshit against her, and she is such a strong woman, and if she finds if something is wrong, she will speak up and just do it. Now we have Anna Margarita Medina. She started her coding at the age of 13, and then she dropped out of UC Santa Cruz for pursuing an internship at Uber. Then she transitioned into many technical roles in the KATES and the CNCF ecosystem. But also to mention, she enjoyed content creation, and she found DevRel to be a sweet spot between being technical and doing the content creation aspect of it. So now she's doing staff dev advocacy at Upbound. And again, she's a CNCF ambassador. So, and as an advice to everyone here, she says that it's just take up space, ask questions, and be authentic. also at tech conferences, she says that it's okay to dress up, it's okay to be fashionable. So yeah, so there used to be a hashtag sig fashion, but I think we need to resurface that again. So if you are going dressing up and do so, just put this hashtag on your post as well. But also, Anna is so strong women. There was a case where she co-led a class action lawsuit against sexual harassment in her organization, which resulted in a $10 million settlement and brought a systematic change in her org, right? But it was also a point that she wanted to quit tech, but then she also realized that no, she can't just quit tech because this is the place she wants to be in. And she stayed and she advocated for a lot more women. And she would like to give shout out to Tim Banks and Austin Parker, who has shaped her career.
We gave Anna the hashtag of power and grace because Anna is a powerful person, but she does it in her makeup and her dresses. The last woman we're going to highlight is Chen. Chen has been in a very developer techie role since the very beginning of her career as a SWE at IBM, and she is now at Red Hat as a senior SWE. So at her senior level, she is a project maintainer and mentor in a lot of internal projects, and she is also a CNCF ambassador. She said that in her career, being the only woman in the room is the norm and not the exception, and because of this, you should be getting used to it. Because while we know we want change, the change is not going to happen overnight. So in order to be comfortable in this kind of situation, she said we need to consciously cultivate your irreplaceability and focus on the conversation, on the technical merit of the idea itself, not the person. Because we are there to work. The idea comes from us, and it's the ideas that we should be talking about instead of who it came from, regardless of gender or demographic. She decided to stay in tech because she says that staying hands-on means she's at the forefront of innovation, and that's what gives her energy.
And we gave her the hashtag ideas over egos because she believes that people should be judged according to their ideas they are putting in front of the table, but not according to their demographics and from where they come from.
Here is like a collage of while we were doing all our interviews, and I love it because it's women and flowers everywhere, and we're also powerful.
But also, women are not alone in this, and I think men can play an equal part as well. And of course, in our journeys, a lot of men have played that part and supported us, and we would like to give them a shout out as well, and what advices they have for the other people.
Yep. So first up, we are going to feature Marino. This is the name that you've been hearing Aakansha mention for the first half of the presentation. Here's the legend himself. He played a crucial role in both Aakansha and I's career, and he's a great advocate for women. Here's what he says. So number one is that make sure if a woman presents an idea in a meeting, it's heard and acknowledged by everyone. Give her credit and specifically call it out. If somebody is interrupting a woman giving her idea, Marino will be the one that stands up and say, let her finish her thoughts.
And also, like after a meeting or something, he usually goes to the women first when he's looking for any advice or feedback, because he believes that like all these things should come from a diverse mindset, right, and not from a particular gender. So he appreciates that and goes to women for the advice. And also to mention that Marino has been that person who like encouraged me and Emily both to try out SE as a role and to see what's out there. And he is also, like, as a fact, I have also worked with him previously in my past organization, and even till this date, he has been super kind and he's very supportive wherever I need help. So that's why we also gave him the hashtag kindest soul.
Marina is in the audience today. Thank you for coming and supporting our talk today as well. Thank you, Marino. The next person that we would like to highlight is Daniel. Daniel is currently my boss / mentor at Acuity. He is a large part of the reason why I am here where I am today. He helped me so much about getting this role, how to get better at storytelling, how to get better at technical demos, and I owe him big time. He does these two things he highlighted with me actively at work, and I feel like everybody should hear them. So he said, give women the spotlight and make sure that women, so I and any other woman that Daniel works with, have opportunities to lead high visibility projects and get full credit for their work. And that's why I feel like I'm very comfortable where I am today.
And we gave him the hashtag soulful support because as you could see that Daniel has been super supportive in Emily's journey, and he advocates for her all the time at work and gives her the credit where it's due. And next up is Sriram Venkatesh. And he's a good friend of both Emily and me, right? And he's such a good listener. He always listens to our problems or any concerns that we might have. And he says that like as a point that people should be more aware of the problems that are faced by women. It could be like raising children or maternity leaves, because that could also impact their careers.
And Sriram made a really good point of never assume things are the same way for everyone else. That means if I'm presented with an opportunity that I think I got easily, somebody else may have to fight for that one, the same opportunity I have. So we shouldn't assume that all opportunities are equal, because this will make people not take issues seriously at work.
And next is Michael Friedrich. So he has been my mentor since 2023. So when I went to KubeCon Amsterdam, that's where I met him for the very first time. And then he reached out to me to say that, hey, I would like to mentor you in your cloud native journey. And since then, we schedule coffee chats. We still do it till this date, where he sees my learning growth. If I have any concerns or anything, he's always there. So he's a kind mentor and friend for me. And he says and he advises that people should listen with empathy. Also, you should cheer to others' success and their learning achievements. And also says that we should provide access, like if we can support the other women in some way by providing our knowledge resource, our network, or our communities to grow, then we should take that step.
Which leads to my point of giving him the hashtag heart of gold, because after everything that Aakansha just highlighted, we could safely say that Michael has a heart of gold. So to summarize all that we've presented, what can you do, regardless of gender, to make this community better? Number one, call out good ideas and give credit where it's due, regardless of the gender or role, because number two, we respect expertise. We want to focus on the topic and the idea that was presented, regardless of the person that presented it.
Wait. And then like as number point three, like give her the opportunities to lead high visibility projects, because if you won't give her the chance, then she can't really express herself, right? And she can't show her capabilities. And number four, like share your knowledge, network, and resources with them, because your one support can bring like high impact in her career. Number five, check your assumptions, because you should not assume that all the people have access to the like equal access to the opportunities and the resources. So never go with that assumption, and try to be empathetic in nature and try to understand their situation as well.
So this brings to the end of our presentation. Thank you for staying to the very end. I really had a good time putting this together, interviewing everyone and speaking today. Here are the resources that contains our contact information and everybody else that was highlighted.
And yeah, thank you so much for having me as well. I really enjoyed, and of course, it was Emily and my like first talk together as well. So thank you so much for that opportunity. And we have highlighted the people, right? So go and follow those people. They do amazing work, and there is a lot to learn from them.
Thank you, everyone. Please say hi if you want to chat at Atlanta or on LinkedIn or anywhere else.
Okay. I can't see the chat. Okay, yeah, it's here.
I see a couple questions in the chat.
Yeah, so Spiro said for women just beginning their journey in tech, either as student or professionals entering the industry, what advice would you share?
I can go first since I recently started contributing to like a new project, and then Aakansha can add. So first of all, so I wasn't part of this, but the LFX mentorship program and GSOC are two very good places to start where you can get mentorship directly for whatever you're working on. Or for me, I was lucky that I was just browsing through some projects I would like to work on. I picked up an issue, and then you can reach out to the maintainers if you have access. Like you can get access to them in the CNCF Slack group if you're in it. If not, you can just search it up, where I can we can add it to the resources. There's where you can find out maintainers and then reach out to them and hey, or if there's like a group that says for every project there exists, say I'm new here, I'm contributing to this issue, here's what I think, can I get some help? And chances are they will be very happy to help you.
Yeah, and so as Emily mentioned, that of course you can like check out the projects that you are interested in. So for CNCF specifically, you can go to the CNCF Tech Landscape and you can see which projects interest you. You can join their channels and you can attend their weekly meetings, and then you can ask the maintainers or the contributors that what are the first good first issues. So that's one way of doing. Secondly, whatever you are learning, I would personally advise that you do learning in public. Like even if it's failure, even if you are stuck, but just share it on social so that people will know what you're doing. And it's a great place to, of course, increase your network as well. And also it gets like it's an inspiration for other people as well to follow along your journey. So that's number two. Number three, yeah, of course, and you should share your knowledge in conferences and meetups as well, like we are doing today. So we would encourage other speakers as well, even if it's their first time, they should definitely go conferences, and people are really supportive of first-time speakers.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, any more questions? Have you been a part of KubeCon program committee member and went through CFP? What are the metrics in terms of increase and decrease of female speakers of MedisCon?
I personally have never been a KubeCon program committee. Have you?
I have been part of the program committee for a couple of times, but like I think the metrics is increasing. I mean, people like they advocate about being inclusive. So like for example, even in the panels there can't be any like there can't be all male panels. So that's one restriction they also have. But also like as more women are speaking up in conferences, other women are also encouraged to go up and show up on stage. And like we have already linked our LinkedIn, our Twitter, and all our handles in that resource code, which was at the end of the slide, but we can
Did
also
anyone
share
know?
it here.
Anybody else need it? I can put it up for another like 30 seconds while
Maybe you
everyone
can type it in
share.
the chat.
The QR code?
No, just your LinkedIn ID.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I can share mine and I can share Emily's as well.
Okay, yeah. I don't actually know my LinkedIn ID. Aakansha to share it for me. I forgot my own ID.
Here's mine. Oh my God.
Actually, I can just go. Oh, I got it. I got it.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, just type
Thank
it
you
in.
so much, Emily and Aakansha, okay, for the very heartfelt session. We really appreciate how you shared, it reminded us of the simple but powerful actions that we all can take, like giving credit when it's due, creating safe spaces, and making sure voices are heard. Sometimes, with this culture shift, not just technical ones that shape the future of cloud native. Yeah, thank you so much. And now moving on to our final speaker of the evening, Angelina.
She might join in a few minutes. So maybe you can go through the slides first, and then we can call the next speaker.
Okay.
Ash, maybe you should share a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit
Are
about
you sharing the
yourself.
slides?
Yeah, will do. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, let's give Angelina some time. So I would like to take a moment to highlight one of the most important things about communities in like Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur is supporting women. So community creates belonging, confidence, and opportunities. It helps women connect with mentors, share knowledge, and gain visibility in tech. And a strong support system breaks isolation, encourages leadership, and ensures the more women thrive in the cloud native ecosystem. So what do we do together? We uplift each other, create a safe spaces to share challenges and success stories, build networks that open new opportunities, and advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion in every space. So every voice matters. At Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur, we also believe that every voice matters. So whether you are just starting out or already established, your journey has value, and we want to hear it. So if you would like to share your story, yeah, if you'd like to share story, you can just scan the QR code over here and submit your session proposals. We'll reach out to you, and if there's any slot available. So if you ever been inspired tonight and you want to present at the future Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur meetup, virtually or in person, this is your chance. And is Angelina ready?
Hey, hi, yes, yes.
Okay.
Hello, hi, nice to meet everyone.
Yeah, hi. So let's move on to the next speaker of the evening. Angelina Mashuri Cheah. She's the director at Citrus Cloud Sendirian Berhad, who also worked previously at NTT Data. She'll be sharing her talk on scaling a software house in the Southeast Asia from solo founder to Ringgit Malaysia 2 million ARR. So the stage is yours. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Q Vashini. All right, so hey everyone. So my name is Angeline, and I'm currently the director of Citrus Cloud lah. So it's been a journey of like almost close to 5 years already in this company. So I will share with you guys like how I got started with this business, and how do I start my journey as a sales in tech account manager, and then founding this tech company. Can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so I started my career in the software B2B sales back in year 2016. So I graduated from IT in MNU, and then right on my first career was in Wikilabs, a local tech company that specializes in Red Hat solutions only. So in that company, we only sell one and only solution, which is mostly all open source solutions, enterprise open source. So I was in charge of MySQL enterprise solution at that time, and also Red Hat solutions. So we used to tell customers stories about the days of like Red Hat Linux, and then we have Red Hat virtualization, and then there comes Red Hat OpenStack and also OpenShift at that time. So a lot of clients in the telco space, banking environment, they love to have two environment, mainly Microsoft, which is let's say very proprietary environment, proprietary farm they call it, and the other environment is usually Linux farm. So all these clients who can spend like telcos and financial, insurance also, or healthcare, they mainly build two major farms to serve different system purposes. So I was an account manager, for Red Hat Solutions. So over like I think I was working there for almost close to 5 years, and I was account manager closing over like I think I did over 100 over projects and worth over 40 million ringgit lah. So So I think I didn't start this business because I wanted to become an entrepreneur. I didn't start this business because I thought about building this business. But this business came into my mind when because when I had left my ex company at that time. So I think the first questions that some of my clients came back to me, and one of them was entity data because we were servicing entity data at that time. So entity data came back to me and they asked if I could freelance to do like a freelance consulting for them on some of the infrastructure projects. And I was like, okay, I'm still seeking jobs in between, still going for interviews, and why not? So that year 2020, I think it was like few months before COVID or after COVID. So Citrus Tribe Technologies was formed. So in today's session, it's more like talking about my story. I'll cover like some of the technologies that we carry, but at the same time also like the journey of like entrepreneurship, right? So Citrus Tribe Technology was established as an infra platform, DevOps, microservices, also cloud solution provider, working with multiple tech partners at the time. And then fast forward, Citrus Cloud was born to scale further the business. And at the same time, I also had like investors from Quantetics to also be part of this journey with me. And then, so some of the typical software house, right? Why software house again, right? Okay, so I think it depends on the founder's vision, right, or the director's goal, right? Do you want to become a software house that generates, like revenue through offering services and consulting to your clients? You can start off with that first. There's no wrong with that. Or you can become a founder from day one, where you build your own proprietary, where you build your own IP, patent, whatever. And there's no wrong to that too. So for me, I started off as a services consultant. So we were offering, because at time the trending jargons or terms, it was something like along the lines of DevSecOps, microservices, or even process digitalization, which a lot of enterprises are still struggling with. I'm not saying that they cannot hire and they don't build their own team, but what we have here is that we want to work with clients who are willing to work with us. So some of my due diligence where I personally, went into Tech in Asia, my startup, as a top 20 selected participant. And I had speakers like Joel Neo, who helped to mentor us for like a few weeks sessions. I was also part of Founders Institute 2023 cohort and also graduate of Tony Robbins. So fast forward, so I was also an employee of Entity Data once before. And generally, so today we have onboarded some of these technology partners with us. We are proud to become a reseller for products like GitLab, SonarQube, React.js, Docker, Postman, Laravel, Kong, Tide, and also AWS public cloud. So we have already successfully deployed all these logos here to some of our clients. So I think these are just sharings, yeah. Our team is pretty small, very lean. There's 5 engineers, there's 5 of us. So I mainly handle all the sales and directorship, and then I have my co-founder who is mostly handling the technology part of the solution. So today, Time.com is our client. There is NDA signed, so I cannot share in detail what we do for them. But essentially, I think this was like 3 or 4 years ago, they were embarking on DevOps and application modernization for the internal team, not the business team. And we had the chance to, introduce some of these tools. We helped them to push proof of concept, GitLab, Bitbucket. Also, I think at that time, GitHub as well. Yeah, so finally they chose GitLab, for certain security reasons at that time. And they didn't want it to be on the public cloud. They wanted it to be on-premise. And so, and we also helped them to test SonarQube. And so that this was the journey that we embarked with the client. And there's also a major application modernization on the customer service application where we help them to modernize or revamp most of the application from PHP, HTML to React, Next.js, and so Laravel. But of course, today there's a lot more newer languages out there, and some of these might not be interesting to some of the newer developers like Golang, and there's so much more, right? So I would say like we are more like a software house that rides on the trend. So when DevSecOps was a trend, we would storytell to the customer that DevOps is the way forward. Next, when it's API gateway, then we also tell customers, okay, hey, do you already have API gateway in your environment? And it's not just about Chen, right? It's about the open source world where they share about, what are the tools out there. And today there's AI. So we also try to incorporate AI use cases for our clients as well. Yeah, so I think that's the end of my sharing, just very short. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Angelina. Okay, any question from the audience? Okay, question from Magesh. What are the challenges of the solo founder?
Okay, sure. Thank you, Mangesh. So of course, I didn't start off as a solo founder from day one. I had to work for a company for almost close to 5 years and build my network, build my net worth, also build like the trust that I can potentially have with the people that I do not have the skill set. For example, let's say if I'm weak in certain areas, like let's say hands-on implementation, coding, development, because I'm good at sales, for example. So I made sure in within that 5 years, right, I have already made all these like technology partners and principals, and also the right connections, so that when I started my freelance, I know who to look out for. I know who to ask for help. And let's say if this, so when you have projects start coming in, right, and that's when you have leverage, right? Leverage means you can now go out and find, let's say, a big boss of a tech company, right? Can you ask them for more leverage, right? So that's how I got a tech company, a big tech company in Malaysia, to invest in the company to get more bigger projects.
Thank you. And the next question is from Abrar. How do you convince the customers on the virtual of cloud native solutions for their problem?
Okay, so when you define cloud native solutions, okay, so it depends on the customer, right? Whether is their team small, is it a big enterprise, is it a medium enterprise, or is it a small startup, right? So from there, we get to see what kind of solutions would be potentially suitable for these clients. There were occasions where I had to test, some of the products available out there in the market for my client, and the testing could last from 3 months up to 6 months, right? Yeah, based on the best knowledge effort that we have, based on the capabilities. And then budget. Okay, so usually we will try to find out, how much budget do they have within the 6 months spending 1 year for technology budget, right? And then we would also get the knowledge base from all the principals. So let's say, do I need to talk to Microsoft first, or Red Hat first, or even Google or AWS? Because if your company is sizable enough, you're an enterprise today, you're a potential end user, some of these solution architects would, come in and provide you all the knowledge and all the efforts, so that you can make your own comparison. So when it comes to convincing customers cloud native solutions, it really depends, like where is that customer, or where is that decision maker in their journey at that moment in time. Are they open to new technologies? Are they open to AI? Are they open to open source? Or if not, then what kind of how open are they, right? So ask these questions.
Thank you. And Magesh, I have another question. From your experience, do you prefer a lean team or a bigger team to work with?
Yeah, so for me, I always love to keep a very small team. And also, I always ask my team, right? I always know what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses of each of my team members. So today, my team, let's say one of them, he could be very good at back-end development, but he's not good at front-end or UI UX. So this is where okay, so for me, the rule of thumb is I will always invest in back-end technologies, because so most of my engineers who are full-timers, they are all the back-end and the database engineers. So typically front-end engineers and UI UX, they are also very essential, very important to my team. But at my startup level, I sometimes cannot afford to, to keep all the engineers that I want. Yes, I want to have so much budget to hire all the engineers. But I ask myself back, okay, if I need to have if I need to build an application for my client today, then would it be the back end that is more important? I would say, based on the budget I have, then the answer is yes.
Okay, and there's another question from Kalish. What is more important, skills or attitude for your team?
Okay, so of course, there's a give and take in this situation, and it's also depending on the. For me, as a salesperson in technology in tech, for me, client comes first. So if my engineer, right, he can have very excellent skills, engineering skill set development, but sometimes it has attitude problem. But hey, if he can work out that relationship with my client and make them happy, and the company can grow, then I guess it's not so bad, right? But of course, I think importantly, the attitude is also very important, because how could you work with me, for example, right? How would you be able to work with your manager if you don't want to listen to him or her? Like, yeah, I don't mind. Like, sometimes you want to listen to my client, go ahead. And if you don't want to listen to me, but you make things work, there were occasions when that happened as well, and I'm okay with that, right?
Yeah, thank you so much. Any other questions?
I think we'll take one last question
Yeah.
from
Okay.
Nick.
Nick asked, you just said that you need to see if front end was more important or back end. When was the time when front end was more important than back end?
Okay, so definitely, because like our major challenge from the customer was, how do I transform from this legacy to new? Because the managers, they don't care about what's going on in back end. The managers want to see what's on the front, what's on the UI UX. Because if they see any changes, they don't want, they just want to see the changes in front of them, right? Which is the system interface. So that's when, yes, front end becomes UI UX becomes so important, and front end becomes the secondary important, and then back end later. So back end is more for the the operation head, the developer head. He will appreciate it. But when it comes to the managers higher than him, right? They don't go and see the code, line by line, to see if the code is like fancy or working very perfectly. They just want to see what's on the interface from old to new.
Okay, and let's take
And
one last question.
one last question. Yeah, just take it and
With the rapid evolution of AI everywhere, have you ever faced any new challenges?
Oh yes, of course. So we see a lot of AI startups, we see a lot of AI coding MVPs, right? So, but sometimes the questions I get from enterprises is that, example, I only have a budget of 200k ringgit to spend per year, right? And how much of this can I spend to build a team of AI engineers, and not only to hire teams, but also to invest in infrastructure. So should I go for AWS, let's say Sage Maker AI, or should I? But if I want to build it on-premise, I have to buy server storage, and then eventually NVIDIA comes into the picture. So with only 200k ringgit budget, how much can I build with it? How much can I build and invest, in AI? So that's the infrastructure investment, and there's also the use cases, right? That we are constantly exploring with the client. So we are constantly exploring with the client. So is it data first? If they want to do AI today, is their data ready? Is the lakehouse there? Is the warehouse there? So these are some of the questions and some of the situations that we encounter with enterprise clients.
Okay, thank you so much, Angelina, for that insightful session. I really like how you grounded the realities of scaling a business, not just in terms of strategy and growth, but also understanding the human side of working with clients. And of course, what I believe is the client is always right. At the end of the day, they are bringing the revenue, right? And listening closely to their needs is what builds a strong, long-term trust and sustainable success. So that's why that's such a value reminder, especially for those who are in earlier career. The technical excellence must go in hand with client focus. Thank you so much, Angelina. Yeah. Okay, we have come to the end of tonight's event. So I want to thank all of the speakers, Diana, Emily, and Akshana and Angelina for sharing their experiences and insights. And of course, a big thank you to all of you who have joined us tonight and making this committee what it is. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to us through LinkedIn. And don't forget, community only grows when we keep showing up, sharing, and supporting each other. So once again, thank you for being here at Women in Cloud Era. Have a wonderful evening, and we look forward to seeing you at our next Cloud Native Kuala Lumpur meetup, which is next month. Thank you.